For centuries, society has largely operated on a binary understanding of gender, male and female. This binary framework has been deeply ingrained in cultural, social and legal systems worldwide. This traditional view is rooted in biological differences between the sexes, evident from birth. From the moment a child is born, they are often categorized as either male or female based on physical characteristics. However, in recent years, there's been a significant shift towards viewing gender as a spectrum, a multifaceted concept that exists beyond the traditional binary. This perspective acknowledges the complexity and diversity of human experiences. This new paradigm posits that gender is fluid and distinct from biological sex, allowing individuals to identify as male, female, or somewhere in between. It recognizes that gender identity can be a deeply personal and evolving aspect of one's life. This shift from a binary to a spectrum model of gender has sparked widespread debate and ignited controversy across the globe. The conversation has permeated various aspects of society, from education to politics. Proponents argue that it promotes inclusivity and recognizes the diverse experiences of individuals who don't fit neatly into traditional categories. They believe that embracing a spectrum model can lead to a more accepting and understanding society. They champion the freedom for individuals to self-identify their gender, advocating for societal acceptance and legal recognition of these identities. This includes pushing for changes in policies and laws to reflect this broader understanding of gender. However, this progressive shift in understanding gender is not without its critics. Some view it as a challenge to long-standing norms and traditions. Many argue that it challenges fundamental truths about biology and undermines the very fabric of society. They worry that redefining gender could lead to confusion and instability. They express concern that this redefinition of gender could have unintended consequences, particularly for women and children. Some fear that it might blur important distinctions and protections that have been hard-won over decades. The debate rages on, leaving many questioning the implications of this evolving understanding of gender. As society grapples with these changes, the conversation continues to evolve. Is it a necessary step towards a more inclusive society, or does it pose a danger to the very foundations upon which our society is built? The answer may lie in how we navigate this complex and sensitive issue moving forward.
The reimagining of gender extends far beyond individual identity, reaching into the heart of our social structures. Education, legal systems, and medical practices, once rooted in the biological understanding of gender, are now grappling with the implications of this multifaceted concept. In education, the inclusion of gender identity in curricula and school policies has ignited fierce debate. Proponents argue that it fosters inclusivity and promotes acceptance of gender-diverse students. Conversely, critics raise concerns about the age appropriateness of such teachings and the potential for confusion among young children. Legal systems are also confronting the complexities of gender identity, particularly in areas like bathroom access, sports participation, and legal recognition of gender. The push for laws and policies that accommodate individuals based on their self-identified gender has sparked heated debates about fairness, privacy, and the potential for abuse. The medical field, traditionally guided by biological sex in diagnosis and treatment, is navigating the complexities of gender identity in patient care. While some medical professionals embrace a more fluid understanding of gender, others worry about the potential for misdiagnosis and inappropriate treatments if biological sex is not adequately considered. The integration of gender identity into these fundamental societal institutions is a complex and evolving process. Balancing the rights and needs of all individuals while ensuring fairness and safety remains an ongoing challenge with far-reaching consequences.
One of the most contentious aspects of the expanding definition of gender revolves around its potential impact on women's rights, particularly in areas like sports and safe spaces. This debate has intensified as more people recognize the fluidity of gender and advocate for the inclusion of transgender individuals in all aspects of society. Critics argue that allowing biological males who identify as female to compete in women's sports undermines fair play and jeopardizes the hard-won achievements of female athletes. They believe that the physical differences between biological males and females can create an inherent advantage in competitive sports. The inclusion of transgender women in women's sports raises concerns about physical advantages, particularly in terms of strength, speed, and endurance. These attributes, often influenced by male puberty, can lead to significant disparities in performance. Critics point to instances where transgender athletes have dominated women's competitions, arguing that this creates an uneven playing field and disadvantages biologically female athletes. They cite examples from various sports where records have been shattered and titles won by transgender competitors. Similarly, the concept of gender-neutral spaces, such as bathrooms and changing rooms, has sparked debate about women's safety and privacy. The concern is that these spaces, traditionally reserved for women, might become vulnerable to misuse. Allowing individuals to access these spaces based on gender identity rather than biological sex raises concerns about potential abuse and harassment. Women worry that this policy could be exploited by those with malicious intent. Advocates for women's rights argue that these concerns are not rooted in transphobia, but in a desire to protect the hard-fought gains women have made in achieving equality. They stress that the issue is about safeguarding the progress made over decades. They emphasize the importance of maintaining spaces and opportunities specifically designed for women, ensuring their safety and fair treatment. These spaces provide a sense of security and community that is vital for women's well-being. Balancing the rights and inclusion of transgender individuals with the protection of women's rights remains a complex and delicate issue. It requires thoughtful dialogue and a willingness to understand the perspectives of all involved. Finding solutions that address the concerns of all parties involved is crucial for fostering a society that is both inclusive and just. This ongoing conversation is essential for creating policies that respect and protect everyone's rights.
Section 4, Lost in Transition, the mental health implications of gender identity. The evolving understanding of gender and the increasing prevalence of gender dysphoria, particularly among young people, have raised concerns about the mental health implications of this complex issue. Critics argue that the push to affirm all gender identities, regardless of underlying psychological factors, could be detrimental to the well-being of vulnerable individuals. Studies have shown that individuals experiencing gender dysphoria often struggle with other mental health challenges, such as depression, anxiety, and self-harm. While proponents of gender affirmation argue that these co-occurring mental health issues stem from societal stigma and discrimination, critics suggest that they could be indicative of deeper psychological distress requiring careful evaluation and treatment. Furthermore, concerns have been raised about the long-term effects of medical interventions, such as puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, on the physical and mental health of young people. The use of these treatments on developing bodies raises ethical questions about potential risks, benefits, and the ability of minors to fully consent to such life-altering interventions. Navigating the complexities of gender identity and its intersection with mental health requires a nuanced and compassionate approach. While affirming and supporting individuals struggling with their gender identity is essential, so too is ensuring that they receive comprehensive mental health care that addresses their individual needs and circumstances.
Section 5. A sea of pushback. The backlash against woke gender ideology. The rapid societal shift towards embracing a more fluid understanding of gender has sparked a significant backlash, particularly among those who view this woke gender ideology as a threat to traditional values and social norms. This movement towards gender fluidity is seen by some as a radical departure from long-held beliefs about gender roles and identities. This backlash is fueled by a confluence of factors, including concerns about the erosion of traditional family structures, which many believe are essential for maintaining societal stability and continuity. The perceived silencing of dissenting voices, where individuals feel they cannot express their opinions without facing severe social repercussions, and the belief that gender ideology is being imposed on society without proper debate or consent. This imposition is seen as undemocratic and dismissive of the values held by a significant portion of the population. One of the most vocal criticisms levied against woke gender ideology is its perceived attack on traditional family structures. Critics argue that the promotion of gender fluidity undermines the traditional roles of mothers and fathers, roles that have been foundational to family life for generations. Critics argue that the promotion of gender fluidity undermines the traditional roles of mothers and fathers, creating confusion and instability within families. They believe that these traditional roles provide a clear framework for raising children and maintaining family harmony, creating confusion and instability within families. This confusion, they argue, can lead to a lack of clear guidance for children, who may struggle to understand their own identities and roles within the family unit. They worry that this shift will lead to the breakdown of the traditional family unit, which they see as the bedrock of a stable and healthy society. The fear is that without these traditional structures, societal cohesion will weaken, which they see as the bedrock of a stable and healthy society. They argue that the traditional family unit has been a cornerstone of civilization, providing a stable environment for raising children and fostering community values. Another major driver of the backlash is the perception that those who express even mild skepticism about certain aspects of gender ideology are immediately labeled as bigoted or transphobic. This labeling can stifle open discussion and create an environment where people are afraid to voice their true opinions. This silencing of dissenting voices, whether intentional or not, has created a climate of fear and resentment, further fueling the backlash. People feel that their freedom of speech is being curtailed, and this perceived injustice only deepens their opposition. Furthermore, many critics argue that woke gender ideology is being forced upon society without adequate opportunity for open and honest debate. They feel that the rapid implementation of these ideas does not allow for a thorough examination of their potential impacts. They feel that their voices are not being heard and that their concerns are being dismissed as bigotry. This dismissal can lead to feelings of alienation and frustration among those who feel marginalized by the current discourse, and that their concerns are being dismissed as bigotry. This perceived lack of respect for differing viewpoints only serves to intensify the backlash. When people feel that their perspectives are not valued, they are more likely to dig in their heels and resist change. This perceived lack of respect for differing viewpoints only serves to intensify the backlash. The more people feel unheard and disrespected, the stronger their opposition becomes, creating a cycle of increasing tension and division within society.